It's been a while since we've done one of these, isn't it? Where we get to break down and talk about an incident that's happened in the world of darts. A little bit of hustly-bustly on the stage. It's all been a bit nice recently. Today we get to break down the incident that happened between Gerwyn Price and between Daryl Gurney at the World Matchplay in the opening round. Now, there's quite a lot to depack here. There's quite a lot to go through. Some things to debunk, some things to sort of see where this is going to go. However, the first thing we're going to talk about is Daryl Gurney. Daryl Gurney in this game was seen swearing, and I had a lot of messages saying, is Daryl Gurney going to get a DRA fine now because of swearing on TV? There's a chance. He certainly will get a letter, but it doesn't necessarily mean a fine. If we look through previous cases, we can see likes of Luke Humphries, who swore in 2022, got a formal warning, as did Fallon Sherrick the same. So it doesn't necessarily mean a fine is coming for Daryl Gurney, and if it did come, you can see it wouldn't be a massive one. Scott Williams and Nathan Aspinall, inappropriate gesture on TV. I think you remember those incidences. £250 the fine on both of their occasions. Now, this is where things are going to get interesting. So I'm not going to talk too much about the incidents. It's hard to tell what happens in a game because you can only see what the camera shows you. I know this. I've been in games like this where you don't see everything on the camera, so it's hard to say exactly what happened, but there was a little bit of interaction, shall we say, throughout the game, more maybe on one part than the other, and we led to a boil over at the end. Now, I can tell you probably for a fact it's probably already dealt with already. They're probably fine with it now. It's a heat of the moment sort of thing. But the angle I want to talk to you about today is this one. The same angle of which Dan Dawson, Sky Sports commentator, PDC commentator, suggests. And I agree. I like these versions of Price and Gurney. They are my favourite. Not only are they my favourite version, certainly of Gerwyn Price, it is the best version of Gerwyn Price. This is where we get a Gerwyn Price that actually goes on to win things. Now, we'll have a look over what Gerwyn Price has said in his interview. We'll have a look at what sort of the feeling and the vibe here is. Now, Gerwyn Price, if you catch your mind back 1 year ago, remember Gerwyn Price was out of love with the sport, didn't know how much longer he was going to be in it, missed the Grand Slam of darts. There was concerns. Certainly going into the events, there was a lot of bad press from Gerwyn Price saying he doesn't know how long he's going to be in the sport. He's got other business interests. Didn't like the way he was treated. I tell you what, one thing for sure, and he mentioned this in the interview as well, the crowd are turning. I've always been a big Gerwyn Price fan, massively. I love the guy. I think it's what darts needs. I think we need those characters. And I said that I feel that Gerwyn Price is someone we're going to miss when he's not around. We'll be like, oh, where's the Gerwyn Prices? And we sort of feels like he's being pushed out. In a way. Not anymore. Being accepted. And do you know what? I think he's changed and evolved, because in this interview he actually said that he kept a lot of it in and the release came at the end. Now, if we think about Gerwyn Price, he's transitioned from rugby into darts. Two completely different mindsets and mentalities, but he's got the skill set to pull it off. Now, before, was he overly intense when now he's found a way to control that? I think he went the other way. I think before he was probably too intense, and then to counteract that, he was too soft. He was too nice. He was too smiley. Oh, I'm Gerwyn Price. Yeah, this is great. No, that's not Gerwyn Price. Gerwyn Price is intensity. And I think what we've got right now is we've found a Gerwyn Price that's in the middle. We've got a Gerwyn Price that his intensity is controlled, but he's going to give you it. He's going to save it, and you're going to know about it. This is the Gerwyn Price that can go on to win titles. This is the Gerwyn Price I've been sat here talking about for a while, that we need to see if he's going to go on and win things again. He won the European Tour last weekend. Good performance here. Now, the other thing he said in that interview, which was interesting, was he didn't feel he played well. He felt like it was like an 85. Now, that's obviously the emotion overriding the performance, because he feels like he's not doing as well, because he just wants to batter Gurney in that moment. He just wants to put him to bed because of the shenanigans and things that was going on the stage. So, with that, I can kind of see where that's coming from, but obviously Gerwyn Price will then feel he's got a lot more in the tank. So, interesting things there. Said his head was going to blow off again, that's just that emotion coming up. But the fact that he doesn't need to release that he can keep that in and still control the performance, I think is a good thing. So I actually think, although we saw a lot of shenanigans, we saw a little bit of words, a little bit of this, that, the other, I think actually what we saw there was an insight to a new version of Gerwyn Price, a better version of Gerwyn Price, a Gerwyn Price that's probably going to climb the rankings again. And I tell you what, in the interview as well, he said he's not even that bothered about climbing the rankings. He just wants to be in the top 8 to be seen and everything. After that, doesn't really care. Top 16 if he's not in that, because then he's in all the Europeans and everything. Other than that, he's not too bothered unless he's world number 1, because that means he's a world champion. So there's quite a lot to depack here. I think in regards to any sort of DRA involvement, we may just get a warning here. I don't think we went into the realms of fines. I think that's very extreme. Unless there's like Daryl Gurney's been in incidents before where seen swearing on TV, their formal warning obviously didn't work, so it'll go again. That's where we may see a fine. But I think if this is a first offence on this occasion, then I don't see fines coming into play. So I think the DRA may have a say, but I don't think they're going to get a deep involvement here. I think it's just literally going to be a, come on, lads. However, I say bring it on. I like it. As a wrestling fan, I want to see that. I don't want to see people go up and clap each other's hands 20 times. 15 handshakes, count them. I'm not far off. 15 handshakes and hugs. I want to see people go at it. It's brilliant. It's great TV. I love this. And I'm obviously going to be watching Gerwyn Price in the next round to see what happens there. So, obviously, it's not going to happen again because he's playing Chris Dobie, who's, different type of character. But Gerwyn Price is back. He's back. And like I say, as a wrestling fan, I do discuss wrestling as well on a different channel. I'll put a end screen on here and in the description if you want to go get my views on the world of wrestling. But as far as I'm concerned about this, crack on, lads. It's good TV for me. Catch you soon.